Hello and welcome to Model Train Fun. Today we're going to talk about how to install Macklin signals. This is the second video in a 6-part series. We are going to look at how to install the home signals in the latest generation. And I have two signals I'm going to install today. One is a semaphore signal with the wing that can move. And the other one is the light signal that basically only shows lights. These two represent two very different ways of how to install the signals. All semaphore signals that are in the latest range you can install as I'm showing for the semaphore, and all the light ones in the latest range you can install as I'm showing for the light signal. The specific semaphore signal I'm installing here is the 70394. You can follow the same instructions as this one here for the 70393, but also the 70413 and 70414. However, if you install the two later ones, then you will install it as this semaphore signal, but you do remember there's two addresses, which I will show how you do on the light signal, right? So on the light signal, the specific one I have here is the 76493, and this is an entry signal, where this is a standard block signal. So the entry signal actually has three different lights it can show, or signal aspects. It can show red, it can show proceed or green, and then it can show yellow for slow. In order to show those three, it actually needs two addresses on the layout. And we'll talk about what you need to think about in order to do this. The installation of the light signal covers all the numbers from 76491 all the way up to 76497. So follow those instructions if you have a light signal you want to install. However, again, think about if it only has one address, you can do as for one address with the semaphore signal. So I don't know if I confused you, but I'm basically going to look at a representative for semaphore signals and one for light signals. The semaphore signal also represents one that has one address, while the light signal represents one that has two addresses. Enjoy the video. Today I will show you how to install a Macklin home signal. In order to do that, I got two different signals here. I got a semaphore signal, which is a 70394, and I got a light signal here, which is the 76493. Basically, what I'm going to show you today applies for all of the latest edition of the Macklin home signals. So that is, this one here also exists in a 70393 edition, plus there is a 70413 and 414 edition of the semaphore signals. For the light signals, the numbers that will comply with this installation is actually 7649, and then all the way from 91 to 92 and all the way up till 97. So let's start by looking at what's in the box. So we'll start with the semaphore signal here. Let's see if we gently can pull it out. You have to be careful with the signals. There's many fine details on them, and especially the semaphore signal has many fine details, as you can see here. And you can see how detailed the signal is. Let me try and get it out. Looks like I can slide it out now. So here we have the signal. So the full signal, including the unit that actually controls the signal here at the bottom. What else do we have in the box? Doesn't seem like there's anything in there. So let's try this one here, see what we have. Looks like it's empty. So what do we have in the box? We have the warranty, always good to have. We got a manual. Please do read the manual before you install any of the signals, especially in the safety tips. Generally, what you need to remember is only install when the power is off, so no power to the tracks. Then we have, I believe this one here, you see here, is for attaching the signal to the C-tracks. Then we have a couple of items here. I believe they are for mounting the signal underneath the layout, if you want to do that. We got some stickers here we can put on. There's also all the wiring in here we need. I believe there's also in this bag some of these plastic items you see here are actually for installing on the K-track. So basically we have everything we need. So what I'm gonna illustrate how to use is how to use it with C-track, how to use all the wiring, and how to operate the signal. Now let's look at the light signal. I would expect basically the same in here as for the semaphore signal. Let's see if we can get it out carefully. Yes. We have, again, warranty card, manual. I can hear there's something else in the box. Probably need to open it here at the bottom as well. So we got a extra box here. So we got the signal. I see all the wiring in here as well. Let me try and detach the signal here. Yes. So this is the signal itself with the wires, and it already comes with a mounting for the C-track. It's already attached to that with wires. Let's see what's in the box. Additional wires and additional mounting. Also for the K-track, if you have that. Looks like this is a K-track mounting. This actually also looks like a C-track mounting. I don't know why there's two in there. Then we got labels, just as with the, oh, I guess they're upside down. Then we got labels here as well. So you can number your signal. If you look, there's actually a small plate. Let me see if I can make it focus. It's hard to see. It's this one here. Let me just move this out of the way. So, it doesn't want to focus. But there's a small plate here where you can put on the labels. And then finally, there's also a decoder we can use for the signal. So again, everything we need is in the box. If we compare what is delivered with the two signals, for the semaphore signal, of course, we have the signal itself. We have all the decoders in here. It includes also the small engine that will actually move the semaphore up here. If we look at this one, the dip switch for setting the address is actually at the bottom of this one. If we look at the light signal, we have the signal itself. It's basically only the signal with a wire. The decoder is separate. So this is where we need to set the dip switches. For the semaphore signal, there's a special plate here for attaching it to the C-track. For the light signal, it's really already mounted on that base. We got extra wires, and then there's also like mounting for K-track as well, plus additional items and wires we will need for the installation. So we have everything we need right here and can start straight away to install it on the tracks. Before we can install the signals, we need to think about what address to give it. And here's a couple of things we need to think about. So we got this signal here, yes, but there's also other accessories on the tracks. So we cannot give this signal the same address as other accessories, because then they will actually change or shift at the same time, right? So for example, if you remember from my turnout installation series, we used addresses 1, 2, and 16. So this time we need to use a different address. One tip though is that the addresses for accessories are different than the addresses for locomotives. So you could have a signal on address 1 and a locomotive on address 1. They will not interfere with each other. The other thing we need to think about is some of these signals are more advanced than others. So this one here only really have two functions it can show. It can either show stop or proceed, or what you would call red and green. This signal uses one address. However, the other signal I have, the light signal here, is actually a little more advanced signal. So it actually can show stop, proceed, and slow, or proceed slowly, which is basically red, green, and yellow. This one here needs two addresses in order to be able to function. You can of course also get the semaphore signal with a slow as well, and then you would have to use the two addresses. So the first thing we do is, well, we look at the decoder here at the bottom, and it can be a little difficult to see. I think I got it upside down. But you see you got the numbers at the bottom, and away from the numbers, just as for the turnouts, is on, and when they are close to the numbers, then it's off. So the first thing we need to do is to look at our instruction manual. Important you find the instruction manual that fits with the signal you have or the decoder you have, because it may be different, especially from one generation of signals to another. So in here we can see the addresses. The first thing we notice over here on the dip switch here is on is away, down at numbers, that's off. And the first one we need to think about is number 10. On means DCC, off means basically Märklin addresses. I would like this one to be Märklin, so we need to make sure of that. That's number 10. Now I'm going to give this signal address number 4. So in order to find address number 4, we go down through the first column, and then we find number 4. And when you see number 4, then you can see there's only one pin or one dip switch that needs to be changed, and that's actually number 3. So what did I learn? Number 3 needs to be on, no other ones needs to be on, and then I want the number 10 to be off because I want it as Märklin. Now let's look at the signal. So if we look at the signal here, yeah, this one is a little hard to get to. So you see the numbers are at the bottom. Dip switch number 1 is actually on, and number 10 is on. So that means this one is actually sent for DCC address 1. I want it for Märklin address 4. Hence I need to change. In order to do this, find a small screwdriver. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to push number 10 over here, way over here. I'm going to try and see if I can do it on camera. It's a little hard to get down there. And not having much success. Want to stay in DCC mode. So now you see Number 10 has been changed, the one furthest up. So now it's off. And then there was number 1 down here. We didn't want that one on, so I'm going to change that one as well. Yeah, not having much success again. I got it this time. And then I want number 3. So I look at the numbers, 1, 2, 3. So I want number 3 on. Okay. Does that look right? The only one on right now is number 3. Okay, everything else is off. Just to be sure, I double check with the manual. I want number 10 to be off. I go down and I find number 3. Oh, I find number 4 because it's address number 4 I find. In order to set address number 4, the only pin I need to set is number 3. Excellent. So now that one should be ready. I will, let's test it out. So let's find the bag of goodies that was with the semaphore signal. Be careful to not cut the labels in there when you open it. Let's see what's in the bag. There's lots and lots of wires. Oh, can't get that out of plastic, we'll do that later. Lots of wires and additional items in here, okay. Let's go look at the installation of the signal. So the first thing I'm going to do is try it out, and then I can basically mount it here as it says on the programming setup, or colors for wires I should say. On this one here we can see when the signal is in that end of the box, which is basically like this, we see over here there's a set of connectors. If I hold it up the same way, this one here, we see the connector furthest to the right. That's where I need to find the brown and the red wire to plug in. I need the brown and the red wire because we're running Märklin. Remember, the signal can do many different systems. So this is the brown and red wire. So brown and red wire, there's a green one here to plug into the signal, and 2 to plug onto the tracks. All right. So let's unwrap all the wires. Again, this one here is like the turnouts. You see there's a groove down here, and you need to put it into the signal so the groove fits. It looks like here on the signal that the groove is kind of at the bottom. The groove ensures you can only mount it one way. We needed to mount it furthest to the right. That's over there, so we do that. Okay. We got it in now. So now we can try and connect it to the track. The track I want to connect it to is right here. So we got the track, and we got a red wire and a brown wire, and as always the red wire goes on the B and the brown wire goes on the 0. I zoom in closely, you can see there's a B here, so the red goes on this tab. There's a 0 here, so the brown goes on that tab. I'm going to start with the red. You hold it like this. This is upside down. It basically goes in like this, and you basically just slide it on. That's one. And now the other. The brown on 0. Okay. We can connect it back to the track. And remember, I've done all of this with power off. Cool. So now I'm going to turn on my mobile station in this case. We see the mobile station powering on. All right. It's in stop mode. We go out of stop mode. Now I need to find my accessories. So down here is my locomotives. Up here where it's a turnout, that's actually my accessories. And what was it address we chose? That was actually address 4. Okay. So now I'm basically ready. If we look at the signal here, well, it's down and it's red. It might be a little hard for you to see, but there's actually a red light right now, LED as well. I have my address 4 over here. I basically make sure to remember, well, maybe I should remind you guys of this. So for the accessories, I use the top buttons here to change the address, right? I can use Shift and then the knob, and then I can actually change fast if I want to, okay? So again, I press up here, I go to address 4, actually I'll put it to the other side. So now address 4 is over here. That means the top button is for changing address, the next one is to putting it to red, and this one is for putting it to green. So if I put it to green, it was outside the video camera, but now you can see it's basically changed. So I will off camera press on the red button here, so you can see how it changes. I will hold the signal up. Yeah, maybe I can do it here. So you see I hit the red, and then the signal changes. I'll hit the green now, signal changes, hit red, signal changes. Really nice, and it works. All right, now we have the light signal. So remember the semaphore I showed just before basically only has stop and proceed, so red and green, so it only occupies one address. Our light signal here can actually show stop, proceed, and proceed slowly, so it will occupy 2 addresses. We have the decoder here as well, which we need to program. Again, the first thing we do, look in the manual and look in the manual for that particular signal so you're sure. We look at the manual again. In this case here, I had to remember to address 10 to also set that to Märklin. Right, so we have that over here. Interestingly enough, in this manual, they haven't showed what number 10 should be. So let me just see if I can see that. Well, so I guess over here it says remember to do number 10. And up here in this column, it says a reminder. You need to set it to on or off, depending on whether or not you're Märklin or DCC. So it needs to be off in order to be Märklin, so that's good. The previous signal we set for address 4, so we do not want address 4, we want address 5. So in order to get address 5, I hope it's a little hard with the light here, address 5, I need to make sure to have dip switch number 1 and number 3 on and no others, right? So we need 10 for Märklin, and we need 1 and 3 for address 5. And since we're programming it for address 5, do remember that it will also occupy address 6. So if I look at this one here, it looks like number 10 is already at Märklin as we want. I see this one is programmed as address 1. I did not want that. Well, I did. I want 1 and 3, so 1 is okay. So then I count again, 1, 2, 3. I need to change this one here, 1, 2, 3, so that's this one here. I push it up, and now we should basically be ready. Excellent. Now we need to try and power on this signal here. So basically again we look at the manual. Here we can see again how it's mounted. We can see we need to make sure that to put the red and the brown wire in the correct one so we can connect it to the track. Okay. The trick with the decoder here is it actually comes out, so you basically just pull it lightly. Then you have it here, so that's actually the decoder. Do remember here, since we have the decoder out, don't touch anything. Only touch on the sides, only touch the plastic. Don't touch anything interesting, right? So we compare this one with the picture. Okay, so you see the big white square box. It's lower left side, so okay. We got connectors left and right. We need to connect on the top connector on the left to the track. All right. Then we go back to the wires we had. We had several different wires. We need to pick up the brown and red one. So we unwrap this wire. Not doing a good job of that. So here we have it. Stretch it out. I'm making a bit of a mess, I see. All right. I think I'll sort that out off camera afterwards, but do avoid this. You don't want a knot on your cables like I did. Again, like everything else, it has a little groove. Can I zoom in on it? So it doesn't want to zoom in on it, but it does have a groove here. Let me just try and remove some of this and see if it'll zoom in. Yes, we can zoom in. You see it has a groove again. So it cannot be mounted incorrectly, but we could accidentally put it in the wrong one. So again, remember, we have the square box down here in the lower left. Then it was the top left we need to mount it in. We are careful not to touch any of the electronics. It looks like this one here, the groove is at the top. So I need to mount it with the groove at the top, and we gently push it in. I think it's in. Yep, it's in. Yeah, it's in. No, it needed just a small more push. You need to feel a gentle tug inside it. All right, so now we got the decoder. Let's also look at the other thing, or the wire to the tracks. That's this one. Now we need also to hook up the signal. So the signal is the purple and white wire, and it needs to go to the right topmost. All right, so purple and white wire is actually already attached to the signal. We gently unwrap this and see if we can avoid a knot this time. I don't think I can. It looks like there's already a knot on the wire. Interesting. I'm not quite sure how to do that. Well, it came in with a built-in knot. Not quite sure how to do that. I will have to be creative afterwards. Again, there's a little groove. We hold up the decoder here. And here, be careful. Again, do not touch the electronics. Remember, it was the top right, so it needs to go in there. We make sure the grooves align. I see the groove needs to be a little up, so I just have it here gently and I push it in. I gave a little click, it's there. So basically now we got the signal, which is here, connected to the decoder through all the yellow wire here. I have the decoder, it's connected to the red and brown wire. And again, I need to connect this to the tracks. And do remember, always with power off. I have not turned on my mobile station. And actually I did turn it off after I illustrated the semaphore before. Again, we have two tabs here. We got the B and then we got the 0. The red is where the B goes and the brown is where the goes on 0. So again, we put this side up, not the flat side, and we put it on the little tab. Okay. We do the same thing with the brown. Okay. So now it's there. Oh. And we do make sure it's properly attached. If it falls out, it's no good. See, this one is actually very, very loose. Okay, what can we do with that? I can use my tool here. I got one of these. I'm not quite sure what they're called in English. Generally what I do, I just squeeze it a little on the side and I squeeze it a little on the top. Let me try that. You have to be gentle because you don't want to crunch it. Okay, let's see if it slides on better. All right. I actually did not succeed. I need to put a little more pressure in. So you need to be gentle, but not too gentle. So now it actually looks like I crunched it a lot, so let's hope it still fits. So it's here, and now it slides on with resistance and it doesn't come off. Excellent. So we put it back on the track. Okay. We have our mobile station. We turn that on. Okay. Actually, as soon as we go out of stop mode, we should see something on the signal. So let's go out of stop mode. Okay, we're in stop mode. We can already see it's red. Nice, so the signal is definitely working. Again, remember, we want to go to the accessories, which is the turnout here. And then we go hit the top one here next to the arrow until we find address 5. And we actually, remember, we want 5 and 6. Because what we want to do is we're going to control with these two addresses. We programmed it to set the dip switch for address 5, and it was automatically also assume address number 6. So this is going to be interesting. I'm just going to first hit the green here, and we can go look at the signal. And you can actually see it's green now. Okay, let me see if I can hold it here at the same time as the central station. So the top one was green, or it's in green now. We can turn it on red, green, red. Now let's try what we can do with the other one. So I'm gonna hit here. You see it says red over here. I'm gonna try and hit the green. So I do this, and you see the signal actually changes. So now it's proceed slowly. So when it says green, green, it's proceed slowly. I turn back to red, then it's actually proceed slowly. Oh, it still proceeds slowly. I guess it is that until, yes, I turn red. See, when I go to red, I believe I have to get it out of red in order to actually change it into proceed slowly. So let me try. No, it actually does automatically go in slowly here. Okay. To be quite honest, I haven't tried these before. So it looks like this one over here, number 5, basically shift between green and red. And if I shift with the other one, it will shift between green or it will actually turn it into proceed slowly. And you can, basically after you've done that, nothing else happens. Okay, so red, I can basically hit green and it goes to proceed slowly. Let me just hit red again. I hit red there. And now I try and hit the red here over here to see if it just slows, or if it's only the green on address 6 or also the red. It looks like it's only the green that actually turns it on. So that's the trick. You can actually all the time just hit the red and it'll go into red. And it seems like the green on address 6 always goes into proceed slowly. Green over here on address 5 will go to green. And red on address 5 will go to red. Cool. Now we are ready to install both signals on the track. The final thing we can do is actually mount the signal on the track. And that's where we have this little plate. Again, here you need to think a little about how you want to mount it and on which side you want the signal. So I prefer having the signals in more German style on the right hand side. I know others would like them on the left hand side. So we need to mount this plate correctly depending on which way is the signal facing and on what side do you want to. So I'm going to mount it on this side. So I want the plate like this. Okay, let's see how we mount the plate. There's actually You see there's 4 slides here where you need to put it in. I want it like this. I'm gonna turn it around, and then I can actually basically just fit it in the holes like this. I can slide it on here, right? So if I take it off again, you see it's kind of like there's a big hole where you can enter it, and then you can slide it in, and then it locks, right? So let's try again. We basically hit the hole here, and then we slide it in. Okay, so now it's slid in. And now you see the C-track needs to fit into these 2. Let me just grab a piece of track so we can see. So the C-track needs to fit in here. The way we mount it is you basically mount it, you catch it on the other side of the track, the opposite side of the track. Then this little thing here can actually bend, and then you can squeeze it in, because you see there's a couple here that needs to fit inside, right? So it needs to fit between this one here and those over here. So you squeeze in on this side, you bend down, and then you can squeeze it in. So a little more difficult when it's on the track, so I mount it on this side, I bend this a little, and then I swoop it back, and then you see it's actually sitting. So if it's on the track, the thing you need to do is you need to push it under, okay? Make sure it actually connects on the other side, comes up here, pull it a little back, right? So now it's here. Okay, let me just maybe get a little closer. Slide it under, then it's over here, then you pull it a little back, and then you basically tilt it till it actually is able to come up and hold the track. And then you have it here, right? The light signal already comes with the foot for the C-track pre-mounted. So the only thing we really have to do is slide it on the C-track, and we do that by hooking it to the other side, then bending it, and then swooping it onto here. Now I'm holding it in the air, so if we do the same thing when the track is down, you basically just slide it under, make sure it hooks on the other side over here, pull it back, and then you tilt the signal, and then you have the signal attached. One final thing that's worth mentioning about the light signal versus the semaphore signal is where the decoder is. So on the semaphore, remember it's this big box. On the light signal, it's basically a separate module right here. This separate module can be put inside here, and then you can mount it. However, there's also the possibility to mount it inside the track. So let me just turn off the power from the mobile station. Again, we don't do any installations with power on. We are gonna disassemble the track. Okay, here. And then basically the idea is, the idea is you can basically make it stick here underneath the track. And if you look here at the track, there's actually a tab there, there's a tab there, there's a tab here, and there's a tab here. So like the turnout, we can basically just plug in the decoder, and then it sits underneath, right? So here it is. And now it sits nicely there, and it's hidden. Of course, the challenge is going to be all of these wires, but there you have to be creative to find a way to actually hide all the wires. Okay, let's see how we can access the signals from the central station tree. So here I have my little layout. As you see, there's no signals yet. So the first thing I want to do is go out of stop mode. And now I want to actually go and search for these signals. What I've done since we used them on the Mobile Station 2 is I actually reset all the dip switches so they're all on off. When they're all on off, number 10 is on off, so it means it's going to be Märklin addressing instead of DCC, so I want the Märklin addressing. And then the address is basically blank. So what I want is for the central station to actually assign it an address. So let me just pull down in the menu up here, and we can see some of my accessories. I hit the edit button, and then I can go to the Discover MFX items. When I click on this one here, it asks me if I want to search. Yes, I want to search, but it also asks me, do I want to get a new address when it finds it or keeps its address? So we do know that at least one of the signals conflicted with a turnout. I don't want that, so I'm going to get new addresses. You could also have chosen to keep the addresses. That is entirely up to you. I'm going to hit OK. Let's see if it can find something on the tracks. It's looking. It detected one new decoder, so that's at least one of the signals. Information was read, and it detected another MFX decoder. It's reading information. Excellent. I saw it said it was Hauptsignal in German, so it was actually at least one of the signals it found. Now it's releasing all the accessories. We're waiting. 2 accessory items were found, exactly as we expected. Now I can't see my signals directly here. I got lots of accessories on there, so let me just try and filter. So I hit the little filter button up here, and then I'm going to say I only want to see signals. And then we see it actually did find 2 signals. Interestingly enough, it actually also shows exactly the signals as they're supposed to be, which is really, really cool. Let's try and go and examine them. We go back to the edit. I hit the edit article list. Now I'm in the full article list where I can edit. I'm just gonna filter again for signals. Okay, I'm gonna, well, now it's, now we have the information for the light signal here. You can see it's actually displayed as red. I don't know if it's red on the layout right now. It may be out of sync till we actually click on it. We can see down here at the bottom that it actually gave it address 11. Excellent. If we look at the other one, we can see that it actually gave that one address 1. So I guess I deleted that turnout that was address 1 before. So I have both my signals in here. Now let me try and use them. I'm gonna click on the semaphore signal here and see if anything changes. Indeed, it changes. I'm gonna do it again. It's green, it's red. Excellent, exactly like I would expect. I'm gonna go out of the edit menu. I want to add them to my layout plan here. So I say edit trackboard page. And let me just get this one out of the way. Now I can basically just drag and drop the signals into the position they have. So I actually have this one as entrance before the little station here. So the semaphore signal. And the other one I have, let me just, actually here before the exit of the train station. So I'm going to put it here. And as you can see, the way to change it, let me just go out of edit mode here. So this signal here, I can basically just click and then it changes. The semaphore signal, remember, it only has 2 signal aspects, either red as it is now, which means stop, or green, which means proceed. The other signal actually has 3 signal aspects, so I can click on it and then I can choose what I want it to be. So I can go to green, for example, and you see the signal changes, or I can go to yellow and you'll see the signal changes again. So remember the 3 signal aspects. Red means stop, green means proceed, and green with yellow means proceed slowly. So everything works and we're happy. Cool. We got the signals installed and we saw how they work. One comment though, I love doing temporary layouts, and the challenge we always have with temporary layouts, or what I seek to achieve, is no wires, right? For signals, that's very, very hard to achieve. As you can see here, for the semaphore signal, I somewhat succeeded, right? So basically what I did is I bundled up all the wire underneath the track. I have been considering just to completely shortening the wire, because in essence you probably only need like a maximum of this distance for the semaphore signal. What's nice about the semaphore signal is everything is in the box. The decoder's in the box, the small servo that moves the arm is in the box, and so on. So it's really, really nice and easy to do. However, as you see with the light signal, I have a little of a challenge. I have a lot more wires here. Right now I haven't mounted the decoder under the track. Of course I can do that. But the big challenge is there's a wire from the signal to the decoder that is rather long. I am actually strongly considering how I can make this easier for me to use on temporary layouts. What I probably will do is I'll shorten the wires a lot, right? However, I'm a little hesitant to do that because there's special connectors in both ends. And what if I need the long wire? So I really have to think about that. However, I do like these signals though. Maybe a comment I should add here. If you're considering an automated layout, or let's say a permanent layout, then there are other alternatives to these signals as well. We could have a more central decoder like the M83 or M84, actually just powering dumb signals instead. So if you're going into automated trains or large layouts, do really consider those ideas. And why is that? Because these signals are actually very, very expensive, which is also a reason I don't have a lot of these signals here. In the next episode, we will look at how do we make a stop section for the signal, or I say with the signal. The signal is able to stop a train in case it's red. This can be very handy if we are making a layout where I'm controlling the trains myself. I don't see the red light and I want the train to actually stop. Please do subscribe to the channel, and please hit the like button if you like this video.